So I was just planning on driving the Eclipse to the Roadkill ZipTie Drags, but I just finished painting it, and there's a lot to do before it's ready to make the road trip and the race. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and take the Bug instead. However, I'm not even sure the Bug can make an 1,800-mile round trip from Denver to Tucson. So I want to make sure that I fix a few things to increase our chances of making it there and back. And we only have 3 days to do it, and it's actually even more like 3 evenings because I work during the day. There's a pretty big list of things to do, so let's get cracking on them. Alright, so first up, I'm going to need a way to charge my phone. If the phone dies and the car dies, then I'm boned. So I picked up this charger on eBay. I'm mounting it in the blank radio panel here because really, who needs a radio anyway? I'm also not keeping this dash, so I'm not afraid to hack it up. And yes, those are grocery bags stuffed against the firewall. They're there to help keep the gas smell out, which is another thing on the list to fix. Wiring this thing up was pretty easy, and I went right to the battery to make sure that it has a really strong source. Because it's right to the battery, I added a switch so I can turn it on and off since this is a potential battery drain. And because this is a potential source of gas fumes leaking into the cabin, I sealed it up with some epoxy and then some blue RTV because that's what I had lying around. And it works. Alright, so I already did the battery cable. I didn't get any footage of that one. And add 12 volt power outlet. Done. Next up, the front shocks need to be replaced. And I tried these cheap eBay coilovers out. And I never made a video on it, even though I was planning on doing that. And they're not even adjustable. They come with wrenches, but they're not adjustable. They're just absolute garbage. The ride is awful. And it actually makes the Bug sit higher than the stock shocks. So we're just going to go ahead and throw stock shocks back on. This is pretty easy. It's just a couple bolts and pop the new ones back on. Oh, and while we're in there, we might as well check the speedometer cable because the speedometer is not working. So we need to check that. And yep, the cable is snapped. I'm going to need a new one. Alright, so we get the shocks done, jump on the car a bit to help settle everything down, and then we'll move on to the next thing on the list. Struts are installed. Alright, next thing I need to deal with is gas smell in the cabin. I just been kind of putting up with it, and I was trying to like seal it off with some plastic bags there, but it's just not working. So I just looked at the diagram, and you got this charcoal canister here. That's supposed to be filtering all the stuff, and it's got a couple of vacuum lines that run up through here, and then there's another vent right here, and all those lines are just nasty and cracked. So what I'm going to do is loop the vents. I guess there's just the one, or maybe two, probably two of them. Tee them together and then vent it down into the fender well with some new hose. So hopefully we can get rid of that gas smell. So you're not going to be able to see anything with me doing in this, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it and show you what we're doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it and show you the results afterwards. Alright, so we got rid of all this mess. Got rid of a couple of the vent hoses, just capped off the main one, and then we got the new hoses put in here. Alright, so the overflow hose is new, and I still need to find new hose for the filler neck, and then the only other port, vent port, is right there. And to make sure that it's actually venting, I'm going to go ahead and stick a really skinny piece of hose and then run that down out into just vent out into the fender. Alright, I think I have all the gas leaks taken care of, but I am going to go ahead and tape off all of the openings in the dash as well, just to make sure that there's literally no air coming through. I've got most of them done, but I ran out of Gorilla Tape. You can see all those spots right there. And then I have the light in there, so you can see that little bit of light shining through there. And then a couple other spots up here that need to get taped up. And then stop any fumes or gases or any drafts at all coming through. Should help keep me a little bit warmer too. Gas smell is fixed. All right, and after taping up all those holes and getting rid of all the old rubber vent tubing and that charcoal canister that was ancient and not doing anything and all the evap system, all the gas fumes seem to be taken care of, so that's good. And the wipers don't work great, so I cleaned up the windshield as well and got a nice fresh coat of Rain-X on there just in case of any wet weather. I also fixed the battery connection, but I didn't get any footage of doing that one. And then I picked up a new fuel sending unit too to replace the old one. Also, there's a really easy way to tell if the sender is bad or if the gauge itself is bad. You just disconnect this wire and ground it, and if the fuel gauge goes up to full, you know that the sender's bad. So let's go ahead and do that. So, as I was saying, if we take this, touch it to a ground, fuel gauge goes to full. So we know that that sending unit is bad. And I need either the fuel gauge working or at least the odometer working so I know how much gas is in it. Ideally, we'll have both working. So let's go ahead and swap out the fuel sending unit. So there's our new one. Oh, the float got lost. Look at that. So this probably works fine, but the float is missing. Probably dangling around in there somewhere. That's ridiculous. Stupid EMPI or MP junk. All right. All right, so got nothing right now. And I had this same problem when I swapped out the fuel sender last time. The reason I think it's not working is because all of those washers are plastic. And it doesn't create a ground. So, one of the metal washers. And jackpot. Gas gauge is moving. Slowly creeping up. I have no idea how much gas is in it, but I'm gonna call that a win. So now we got at least semi-working gas gauge. Let's go ahead and fix the odometer. And gas gauge is fixed. Oh, odometer's gonna wait because this thing needs a new battery because it kept dying on me. So I picked one up on Craigslist, damn near brand new. Battery's done. And we're gonna go ahead and go through a couple new tires on it. So these are Mastercraft and they look okay. These are Spartan and they are pretty dry rotted. This one's Mastercraft. And looks okay. So I'm gonna keep the two Mastercraft. And this one, oh, this one's Mastercraft too, but this one's bald as shit. Alright, so we'll keep the back right. Alright, tire shop time. Not gonna record it. Alright, I've got two new tires on. I put the brand new ones in the back and the two best tires up front. And I did find a new speedometer cable on Craigslist. So I went ahead and popped that in as well. Speedometer's done. Alright, so that is everything that needs to get done. The only other thing is with the, I swapped the battery out and it seems to be much better. The other battery kept dying. But I was double checking to see if it wasn't the generator, and when the car's running, I'm only seeing a little over 13 volts. So it sits at 12.6 when it's not running. But when I rev it up, it should go up to 14, but it's not. So when I'm revving it up, it's only going up to like 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, which would explain why it's not charging very fast. Yeah, I gotta hold it still. So yeah, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4. I know you guys can't see it, but yeah, so it's not charging very well. But the generator light comes on like it should. So it's charging a little. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I bring a jump starter kit, and hopefully we'll make it. But yeah, I'm gonna call that done and ready to go. We head out tomorrow morning. All right, and just a couple more things to do. I've ran out of gas in this car before, at least twice, so I'm not going to take any chances. I ordered up this fancy retro gas can from Amazon because it fits right up in where the spare tire is supposed to go, but I don't have a spare tire, so at least we got extra gas. And I loaded up. I also loaded up a bunch of my tools and emergency equipment just in case. And in case I see any other roadkill bound traffic on the road, I decided to mark my window up so everybody knows where I'm going. And window chalk is done. Let's take a road trip. Alright guys, I'm about 2 hours away from Denver right now. And it's pretty warm. I'm dressed really warm, so that's good. I got long underwear on and 2 pairs of sweatpants and a really warm shirt and 2 sweatshirts. So I'm nice and toasty. I think it's like 40, 50 degrees out right now, so I'm lucky with the weather. And car's doing great. I just got, I'm listening to some podcasts right now, since there's no stereo in the plug, so it's helping pass the time. Going 65. Speedometer is working great. Got some gorgeous scenery here in Colorado. Got some amazing mountains to my right, to the west. And I'm gonna try to run the GoPro quite a bit. And yeah, going good. All right, we are in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Just stopped up, gas up a little bit, grab a little bit of food. Weather's super nice. It's like 50-ish outside. I don't know. Really, really nice. I've hardly even needed the extra layer of clothes that I've had. But we saw this cool old train while it was filling up. Thought I'd grab a shot of it, and we're getting back on the road and on our way to Albuquerque. Alright, so the trip down to Tucson was pretty uneventful. The car ran great, and I only drove halfway the first day, and then I stopped in Albuquerque to stay overnight, and then got up early in the next morning to drive all the way to Tucson. Alright, I don't know how much you guys are going to be able to see because it's pretty dark. I'm getting close to Albuquerque, and this clusterfuck has been going on for the last 15 miles, I want to say, and it is not moving at all, and there's sirens and cops going all over the place, and yeah, like 15 miles of not moving. Oh man, so glad I am not going that way. And I wonder if it's construction. I'm gonna have to look, because I hope I don't hit that on the way back. The traffic caught up to me 40 miles outside of Albuquerque, and I am pulling up on what looks to be a clusterfuck. And I'm now going 10 miles an hour. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see, but there's at least a couple miles long line of cars. So this will be fun. Roadtrip, and I'm about 20 minutes outside the Tucson dragway. So I'm just about there. Car's been doing amazing. I've actually been going 70, 75 miles an hour, and it's handling it just fine. Been double checking the oil and making sure it's got plenty of gas and everything, and car's running great. So I'm gonna turn the cab around. I'm gonna stick it on the mount for pulling into the dragway. I think I'm gonna beat the big caravan there, because there's the whole bunch of people coming from LA. If I beat them there, and if I can check where they're at, I might actually go drive out toward them a little bit, so I can cruise with them into the dragway as well. But we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off, flip the camera around, and we'll see you guys in the dragway. All right, we are at the drag strip. It's Saturday now. I made 3 passes last night, and I cut over a second off my time at Bandimere in the bug. So at Bandimere I ran a 21.8, and last night here I ran 20.6 each night, or each pass, all of them right at 64 miles an hour. So it was super consistent. So obviously the altitude got me over a second faster in the quarter mile, and today it's really windy out, and it's a rear wind on the drag strip, so I might even be able to cut off a little more time. So I'm hoping that'll work. All right, we are sitting behind Jake in his Hornet, and we're gonna try to race him. I'm gonna be in the right lane, and he's gonna be in the left. So I'm running about a 20-second quarter mile. I think he's going to be around a 16, maybe a little bit slower, so it actually might be a good race. Got Darren telling the guy that we're going to want to race him, so that's cool of him. And got a couple bugs right there too, which is pretty cool. Bunch of cool cars that came out.
So I have to send out my cub reporter and check and see how many cars we have left out here in safety, so we can
check out this Super Bee. That thing's pretty. While I was at the meet, I didn't shoot a lot of video. I really just wanted to have fun and be there and relax and do a little racing in the bug, which is a blast, by the way. Yeah, it's slow, but I actually took 1.2 seconds off my Denver time because of the altitude change. There's lots going on, and I got to hang out with some friends, have some beers, and just enjoy all the crazy cars that were there. I even got to race Jake at the Green Hornet from Finnegan's Garage YouTube channel, and that was a blast. I can't wait to see when he makes the nitrous run in that thing. Anyway, the rest of Saturday ran way behind schedule. Roadkill, who would have thought, right? And then it ended up getting rained out, so we didn't get to do the $3,000 Hoopty challenge, but still had a blast while I was there. So the next morning, Sunday morning, I got up and I was on the road at 7 a.m. Doing the whole drive from Tucson to Denver all that day, and got unlucky on the way back because it was raining and or snowing the entire trip back. I didn't end up getting home till like 11 p.m., so about 16 hours in the car. All right, we are driving home, and it is significantly colder than when I drove down. So it's Sunday, and we're doing the whole drive the whole way back, and it's only like 30 degrees outside, so it's below freezing. It's snowing and kind of raining in places. But I'm very cold, not dying obviously, but I got a lot of layers on. Been driving since about 7 a.m. this morning, but everything's going good, so hopefully we'll make it back okay. All right, we are home. This trip ended up taking me, like 16 and a half or 17 hours, mostly because that's not a headlight. That is one of my production lights that I zip tied to the front. We had a alternator charging issue. It kept blinking on and off. Like it would be on for a while and then off for a while, on for a while, off for a while, and eventually the battery just died. You can see the parking lights are on just barely. I'm gonna flip those off. But I had just enough juice with tail lights to get me back home. This trip ended up being just a little bit more roadkill than I wanted, but it was actually pretty fun. It's snowing here in Colorado. There's the bug in the Subaru and my one headlight. So I'm going to bed. We'll see you guys next time. The alternator was cutting in and out the whole way back in the rain and snow, and eventually the battery gave out too. So when the alternator would cut out, so would the headlights, and so I kept having to pull over and stop, and I would just wait for everything to kick back on because I checked all my grounds and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. Eventually I realized I was never going to get home if I was stopping every time the headlights kicked off. Why would I let that stop me? So I zip tied one of my production lights up to the front and just powered all the way home. All right, so that was the Roadkill road trip. Coming up next, we're going to be working on the Eclipse a bunch. Got a bunch of stuff we're going to be doing with that, including the big turbo upgrade. So make sure you subscribe on the main channel as well, and also check out my Instagram, which is Velocity Labs. I post a lot of pictures and updates there too. So we'll see you guys next time.